Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name's Farah Halabi and I'm a professional Muslimah life coach, and I'd like to ask you, have you heard the expression, sticks and stones will break my bones but words will never hurt me? Now, when I was a little girl, that was kind of bandied around as the way of coping, the way of managing when, maybe I'd had unkind words said to me at school, or usually in like my friendships at school. It was kind of, it was the teacher's almost mantra, if you like, that, words can't hurt you, so don't worry about it, just ignore them. Sticks and stones can literally break your bones, but the words, they can't hurt you. And that really didn't help me much, to be fair, because I did feel hurt by the words. I did get upset by the name calling as an adult. Before I became an adult, from my childhood through to my teens and into adulthood, I did get upset with words. I even said some very upsetting words. I have been called names, and I have called people names. And words are they're very effective, aren't they? But the words themselves are neutral. It's not the words that hurt. So yes, there is some truth to, words will never hurt me. It's not the words that hurt you. It's what you take those words to mean. Whether you believe them, whether you question yourself about them, whether you wonder why someone could possibly say that to you or about you or around you. Now, I've had some really interesting conversations today in my client work and also outside. And something that has come up is the power of words, and also the way in which we, things get lost in translation. But usually if there is, we don't, as human beings, we don't really, we're not kept awake at night at all the lovely things that have been said to us. We don't toss and turn wondering if that's, what's that mean? What does that mean? Like, what did they mean when they said, "Oh, you're a really great person," or something complimentary is said about you? I mean, we might, but I usually it's words that, or it's phrases or interactions that are not very nice. And nice is one of those words as well. But usually when it comes to the words or the meaning of words that are said to us, that we mull over, that percolate, that embroil, and that are embroiled in our minds, that pierce us almost, even though they're not physical things. It's almost like lots of needles, lots of, there is a very physical reaction to them. And it's not the words themselves, it is our interpretation of what they mean. And then what we do with that interpretation, what we do with that explanation, what we do with that supposed meaning. So if I believe that someone who, let's just say who I'm close to, says something not very nice, particularly hurtful, and I take their words to mean something hurtful, to mean something very specific, to mean something very targeted, very, very, very focused, very, very nasty, or, whichever way I take their words. And then I take on, I begin to doubt myself, or I could possibly begin to doubt myself. Are they right? Am I really a XYZ? Am I really an awful person? Am I really not very nice? Am I that thing that they say? Or the disbelief, how could they even say that? I do, I try my best. I'm really trying hard here. How can you not see that? Why would you think that I'm a horrible person? And so there is this doubt, and it becomes more and more of a thought storm. And then if I'm believing, or if I'm taking on board what they're saying, especially if there's someone close, I've still got to live with that person. And for my clients that spoke to me today, the words in and of themselves, when we speak about them, the words in and of themselves are neutral. But the person saying those words to them, and the interpretations and meanings that they take from those words being said from the person saying it to them, and the relationship that they have with that person all kind of gets compounded. So it's almost like when the words are being said, they're like boulders being thrown, like big, massive, heavy boulders that when they land on them, they're crushing them. They're hurting them. They're not little pebbles. They're like big rocks that when are fired at them, they're really getting hurt. So how do you be around someone that you feel has hurt you? How do you then, how do you conduct yourself? And it could send you into a frenzy of, a complete panic, or, well, I've got to deal with this now. So if you understand, or if you have ever found yourself being hurt, being caused distress, being affected, being impacted by the weight of someone's words to you, it's a bit like sticks and stones being thrown at you. But there's nothing physical that hits you, but it feels you feel it in your physical form, you feel it in your body. And what do you do with that? How do you deal with it? And it's not going to be the same for everything, because it depends on the person who's saying it. It depends on what they say, and it depends what kind of relationship you have with that person. It also very much depends on how you think and feel at the time that this is being said. And if you buy into it, if you believe them, then that is going to power how you behave. If you are in disbelief, that is also going to power how you behave. If you just think, oh my goodness, you're just talking absolute rubbish, that is going to power how you behave. How you think, what you think about what that person is saying, what you take that to mean about you, is going to power how you behave. And for today, in today's conversations, there are various different relationships that were being impacted by the power of words, the power of being hurt by those words, the power of being defined by those words, and the erroneous and dodgy beliefs around, well, they've said it, it must be true. Are they telling me what they really feel? Are they speaking their truth? Because we know that there's a lot that's said in the heightened states of emotion, whether it be anger, whether it be even heightened states of happiness, but generally in heightened states of anger or frustration or rage, the words that come out are not going to come from a place of peace and clarity and, clear thinking. They're going to be they're not going to be the truth. There might be kernels of it. Sorry, my boys are watching the football, and obviously one of their teams has scored, but there's not going to be the truth about you in there. It might be the truth of how they're feeling in the moment, but it's not going to say anything about you unless you believe it to. So just fast forwarding to, have you ever been hurt by words? Have you ever been hurt and struggle with then how to be around the person or people that have said those words? How have you managed? Have you had to try and ignore it, allow it, sweep it under the carpet, or have you responded, or have you had to change the way that you behave around that person to manage and deal with it? And how is that working out for you? Because if we can cut off the impact of those words not at the source, because it's coming from someone else, but if you imagine someone's words as droplets of rain, we have an umbrella, we have a protective shield that we can put up so that they can spurt, but we can put up an umbrella, and that protective shield is the awareness that their words say nothing about you. even if they are, you know, seething, even if they're completely convinced, but their words, their behaviour, the words say nothing about you. It tells you nothing about yourself. It means nothing about you, but tells you everything about that person's view of the world, the view of you in that moment, that is not a constant view. It comes from a place of heightened emotion. So that's our umbrella. Not accepting it. Bit like, and I think I've used this example before, it's a bit like they've got a cup of poison. The words are like dripping poison and they're giving it to you. And the moment that you begin to think their words mean something about you, it's sipping the poison and it's going to affect you. But if you say to them, no thanks mate, here you go, you have it back, then you're cutting off the power of those words to hurt you. You're not taking in their poison. Now, I'd love to know what this brings up for you, because I don't believe in coincidences at all by any means, but this has come up 3 times today in varying different ways. And so what has come up for me? What have you heard in this video? How do words affect you? How do you deal with hurt? How do you deal with pain? How do you deal with the feeling or the emotion that is listed in you from words, harsh words, negative words, horrible words, not very kind words that come from others, especially others who are close to you? How do you deal with that? And if you would like to know more about your own little umbrella that you can put up and what that means, how you can do that for you, then please reach out. Either message me or email me at connect@farahhalabi.com. As always, I pray that you are safe, well, happy and healthy, and inshallah I will see you again for another little conversation. Maybe not about umbrellas this time, but you never know. We'll see what happens. But for now, take care. Assalamu alaikum.